the actions from which virtue is produced are also those in which it is exercised. To avoid the painful and aim at the pleasurable is one of the most obvious tendencies of human nature. It is not the function of medicine to restore a patient to health, but only to promote this end as far as possible, for even those whose recovery is impossible may be properly treated. For both excessive and deficient exercise ruin bodily strength, and, similarly, too much or too little eating or drinking ruins health, whereas the proportionate amount produces, increases, and preserves it. For there are two reasons why human beings face danger calmly. They may have no experience of it, or they may have means to deal with it. Thus, when in danger at sea, people may feel confident about what will happen either because they have no experience of bad weather, or because their experience gives them the means of dealing with it. Fame means being respected by everybody, or having some quality that is desired by all men, or by most, or by the good, or by the wise. For we do not think that we know a thing until we are acquainted with its primary conditions or first principles, and have carried our analysis as far as its simplest elements. Therefore, in the science of nature, as in other branches of study, our first task will be to try to determine what relates to its principles. A good style must, first of all, be clear. Beautiful living is the gift of wisdom. Young people are high-minded because they have not yet been humbled by life, nor have they experienced the force of circumstances. They think they know everything and are always quite sure about it. Rash men wish for dangers beforehand, but draw back when they are in them. Brave men are excited at the moment of action, but collected beforehand. No one loves the man whom he fears. What is true and better is naturally always easier to prove and more likely to persuade. We cannot be prudent without being good. Now the proofs furnished by the speech are of three kinds. The first depends upon the moral character of the speaker, the second upon putting the hearer into a certain frame of mind, the third upon the speech itself, in so far as it proves or seems to prove. The smallest number, strictly speaking, is 2. The ideal man takes joy in doing favors for others, but he feels ashamed to have others do favors for him. For it is a mark of superiority to confer a kindness, but it is a mark of inferiority to receive it. For liberality resides not in the multitude of the gifts, but in the state of character of the giver. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting 2 bodies. Thus we must advance from generalities to particulars, for it is a whole that is best known to sense perception, and a generality is a kind of whole, comprehending many things within it, like parts. Thus, To give money away is quite a simple task, but for the act to be virtuous, the donor must give to the right person, for the right purpose, in the right amount, in the right manner, and at the right time. Confidence is characteristic of a person of hope. But to die to escape from poverty or love or anything painful is not the mark of a brave man, but rather of a coward. It seems impossible for all things to be one. Freedom is a property of the will which is realized through the truth. Freedom is given to man as a task to be accomplished. Now there is a common division of goods into three classes, one being called external, the other two those of the soul and body respectively, and those belonging to the soul we call most properly and especially good. Well, in our definition we assume that the actions and workings of the soul constitute happiness, and these of course belong to the soul. Criticism is something you can easily avoid by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. There is no gain in being persuaded not to be hot or in pain or hungry or the like, since we shall experience these feelings nonetheless. Happiness is the exercise of talent, along the lines of excellence. Learning begins at the level of the learner. The things about which we inquire are equal in number to the things we understand. Existence is to all men a thing to be chosen and loved, and that we exist by virtue of activity, and that the handiwork is in a sense, the producer in activity. He loves his handiwork, therefore, because he loves existence. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Every art and every inquiry, and likewise every action and choice, seems to aim at some good, and hence it has been beautifully said that the good is that at which all things aim. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. For we don't wish to know what bravery is but to be brave, not what justice is but to be just, just as we wish to be in health rather than to know what health is. That which is common to the greatest number has the least care bestowed upon it. Everybody is more inclined to neglect the duty which he expects another to fulfill. We can do noble acts without ruling earth and sea, for even with moderate advantages one can act excellently. "95% of everything you do is the result of habit." Now to know anything noble is itself noble, but regarding excellence, at least, not to know what it is, but to know out of what it arises is most precious. Moral experience, the actual possession and exercise of good character, is necessary truly to understand moral principles and profitably to apply them. The mere intellectual apprehension of them is not possible, or if possible, profitless. It is the mark of an educated mind to rest satisfied with the degree of precision which the nature of the subject admits, and not to seek exactness where only an approximation is possible. For it is about the actions that we deliberate and inquire, and all our actions have a contingent character, hardly any of them are determined by necessity. Excellence was never an accident. The excellent outcomes were the wise choice of many alternatives. But what matters for questions of virtue and vice is whether your acts are not merely voluntary but also chosen. When something is not in excess, it is good. But from the moment it is in excess, it becomes bad. Frequently repeated action is pleasant because, as we saw, familiar things are pleasant. Change is also pleasant because it restores one's natural condition. Always doing the same thing creates an excess of one's normal state. Hence the sentiment, change is ever sweet. That is also why people or things that one meets with only once in a while are pleasant. There is a change from the present, and besides, anything that happens only once in a while has the value of being scarce. Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. Whereas the great-minded man despises on good grounds, for he forms his opinions truly, but the mass of men does it at random. Which quote did you like most? Share it with us in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.